Welcome to For the Common Good with Juanita, a show where we inform, inspire, and empower our businesses, communities, and people just like you. And I am your host, Juanita Farrow. Have you felt a little anxious in the midst of this pandemic? Maybe feeling that your dreams have been put on hold? Or at least maybe something you wanted to do that you could not do? Well, you need to hear this show because that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about personal development, even in the midst of a pandemic. And I have the perfect guest with us today. We're talking to Alyssa Lassiter.
And I'm the perfect host.
Let me tell you a little about Alyssa. She's a certified life coach and says she thanks God for the opportunity to join individuals on their journey to emerge from the hurdles holding them back. She created Say Life Personal Coaching LLC in 2017 at a difficult time in her life. Alyssa, I wanted to ask you this because I think most would ask, life coach, what is that all about? What exactly does a life coach do?
Yes. So when I first became a life coach, I remember sitting on, as you mentioned, I was going through a difficult time in my own life, and I was sitting on the edge of the bed, and I felt like God dropped into my spirit, life coach. And I was like, okay, God, what does a life coach do? So I'm going to answer that question for people who may be having that same question. And so your basketball coach tells you how to play basketball, right? Mm-hmm. Your football coach tells you how to play basketball. Well, maybe your football coach tells you how to play basketball, but generally your football coach will tell you how to play football. Mm-hmm. But your life coach doesn't tell you how to live your life. And I was like, what? Your life coach doesn't tell you how to live your life? So I like to imagine it or envision it in this way. And it's almost like you envision this windy sidewalk or path in front of everybody. And maybe it's the autumn of their lives. So there's a lot of leaves on the ground. Mm-hmm. And so me as a coach, I get out there with my rake and whatever shoes I want to rake in, not the ones I'm wearing today. And I help that person clear those leaves so that they can see the path that God has set for them. Oh. Yes. And so what may work for me may not work for them. Mm-hmm. What may work for them may not work for me, but we get to work together and really figure out what those things are that have been holding them back, those hurdles. We identify those and they come out of with a plan, with a strategy, a game plan to actually get past those things and achieve the things that they've been wanting to achieve in their lives.
That is awesome. So you're not telling someone how to live their life. I mean, yes. No one is going to come to you and say, okay, tell me everything I need to do. Mm-hmm. You're not going to see that. But you probably have people who think maybe that's what a life coach is.
Yes. And I think some people who come to me, they don't realize, and I know this may sound very like, okay, come on, but it's actually very true that some of the answers are really inside already. But sometimes as we go through life, there's a lot of filters and shades and limiting beliefs and things that, maybe we've put on ourselves or things that other people put on us that prevent us from really getting real, with ourselves and seeing those answers for ourselves.
You say it's important for us to have a life coach?
Mm-hmm.
Should all of us have a life coach?
Yeah. I mean, well, okay, you have a life. I think
it's natural.
Yes. And I think one thing, even when I was in my coach training, we learned every coach needs a coach.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And you think of it, every mentor needs a mentor, every pastor needs a pastor, everybody needs someone that they can truly just share with and just be able to have another perspective. And I think sometimes we may be all into our stuff. Right. Sometimes it's hard to see that next step. But when you have a party from the outside looking in who truly cares about your best interests, it's a great way to get another perspective.
Oh, that's really exciting. Now, you were training all of these coaches. Well, I guess with your own experience and working with others as a life coach, that inspired you to start an institute. Tell us about the Institute and how that came about. I mean, you're coaching others and you get this idea about starting an institute to help train other coaches.
Absolutely. I'd love
Wow,
to
that's
share about
great.
that. So, as I was coaching, I realized that having the knowledge of being a coach has added so much to my life. And just a little bit about my story. I was actually working in television news 9 to 5, and my mother started having some health challenges, and my husband deployed and went out to sea. And I thought that would be a good time for me to go and be able to help her out and spend some time with her, share some time with her. And so that's when I was able to kind of take a step back and really answer those tough questions.
Wow.
Is this the type of work that I want to be doing? Not just that, but is this how I want to be doing the work that I'm doing? And really taking a good hard look in that mirror about myself.
Yeah.
And I think that was really the first step to get me rolling into becoming a life coach, because now I get other people to look into that mirror. Fast forward to how I became a coach instructor for our ICF approved program, is that having the knowledge of being a coach added so much to my life, because I got to, one, as I learned more about other people, I got to learn more about myself. And when I was faced with the decision of having to either get care for my mom for 8 hours a day or go on unpaid family medical leave, I said, okay, I'm going to go be with my mom now.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And because I knew those things, now that's what I share with other people. Because especially right now in the midst of a pandemic, there's so many people who maybe have their hours furloughed. Maybe they can't go to work the same way. And maybe for the first time in a long time, they're taking a look at some of those goals and those things that maybe they've put on the back burner for work, for family, for all these other reasons. And now they need some help getting that up to the forefront, so that as a result, they can help other people get to those goals as well. So that's my passion. That's why I'm so passionate about training other people about how to step into life coaching, because it provided me the opportunity to put 2 feet into something that I truly love, and also gave me the opportunity to spend precious, precious time with my mom that I'll never get back.
Oh, what a beautiful story, though.
Thank
That you got to
you.
spend time with your mom, but
Yes.
also that really created something else in your life. A passion, it brought that out.
Yes.
That is awesome.
And it's interesting, and I think many of us can think back to a difficult time, and I think of it as like, this concrete time in our lives.
Yeah.
But through the concrete, for me, that was the transitioning of my mother, that a little green sprout or something like that can come out of that, and God can really make something beautiful out of our pain and our challenges. And so it's just, I really just nerd out about this kind of thing, just to be able to see my coaches help them get through that time, and help them get other people through that times as well.
And that brings up another important point that I wanted to ask. The types of people that come to you, what are they looking for? Are they just looking for more meaning in their life, or have they gone through similar experiences, or did they always know they wanted to be a coach? What kinds of people? I guess you see all kinds of people.
Yes. One common thread that I noticed with all of our Say Life coaches, because we truly do become like a family, so we're called the Say Life family, is that these are calling-based coaches. And I understand, hey, income is important. I like to keep the lights on and have food on the table and things like that. But for our coaches, definitely that's important, but it's also more than that as well. It's truly a calling. One thing that when we're having our first session, and just really to hear their heart for coaching and for what they love, some people may say, oh my gosh, it's been years since I've put this dream on the back burner. And I'll ask, how many? And for some of our coaches, it's the very first time they're getting in touch with what that number looks like. So maybe it's 20 years, maybe it's 30 years, maybe it's 1 year. But, when you have that dream on the back burner cooling and realize, hey, it's time to get it back off, I just step right in, and I'm grateful to be there for them.
That is so awesome. We're going to take a short break. We will be right back. Welcome back to For the Common Good with your host, Juanita Farrow. And I've been talking to Alyssa Lassiter, and we are talking about personal development, even in the midst of a pandemic. I wanted to ask you, Alyssa, what would you say to the person who feels right now that their dreams are diminished because of this pandemic? Where would they start?
we like to call this just giving a moment for pause and reflection. So
Love
actually,
that.
if that's okay with you,
Pause.
host, I'd love to just have 5 seconds of
Ooh.
just a pause. And if anybody is watching today that you may feel that your dream is on the back burner, I would love to just breathe into that just for like 5 seconds, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
The first thing is to feel and to acknowledge. And sometimes it's so hard to come face to face with those things that we may have put on the back burner for so long. Maybe it's painful. Maybe we feel that we're not capable, not beautiful enough, not talented enough, not happy enough, not enough. Sometimes we get so deep into, I'm not enough.
Not enough.
But think about the fact that this calling is in your heart to begin with. And I don't believe that it's there for no reason. And so when you get in touch with the reason that there is something inside of you and it is there for a purpose, that's step number one. That's step number one. I also think putting pen to paper is very powerful. I know I'm giving you all a lot of homework here. We call it heart work in our community. But I say write those things down, because sometimes we just go to our day-to-day, keeping up with all the to-dos, taking the kids and the parents and all these other people that we take care of here and there, that we really don't have a chance to just get in touch with what that is. So take some time to write it down. And then the third step, and I know I'm simplifying a little bit, but the third step is to share with somebody who you trust. Share it with someone who, I know we've all had those people in our lives, and if you're at home, raise your hand if it's you. I'll go ahead and raise my hand, where you'll share something with someone. You'll be super excited about it, but then it'll be met with, oh, well, you think you could, are you sure you? And then it almost dims your spark.
Right.
So, and I tell all of our Stay Life family members this, your vision is precious. And when they share it with me, I don't take your vision or your dream or your goal lightly. So make sure that if you share it with someone, to make sure that you share it who's not going to take your vision or your dream or your goal lightly. And certainly, hey, you can always share it with a coach or with somebody that you trust in your life. So those would be my, the first few steps.
Right.
Breathe into it. Acknowledge it. Write it down. There's power in just seeing it. Even some of those fear questions that you may have, because sometimes they just kind of roll around in our minds and get bigger and bigger and bigger. But when we answer them with faith, when we answer them with good ideas, when we answer them with reason, then we can truly see them for what they are and then share them with someone you trust.
Oh, that is awesome. Stand firm on your faith, no matter what anybody says. Because we know there are going to be people out there, I love that, who are not going to support your decision or feel that, but they don't know what's for you. So it's yes.
I almost ran around this set. Yes. They may not see
that
your vision
spark.
The way you do, but that's okay, because it's not theirs for them. It's not theirs for them to see.
Love it. Woo! Tweet.
Tweetable moment.
Tweetable moment. Yes. So let's talk about action steps to getting organized and staying organized, because for so many, they're like, well, that's just one more thing to do. How am I supposed to do that? How do I even get started? And most of it is because they're probably not very organized to put that one more thing on their plate. Yeah. So how do you get it done?
Yes, absolutely. So the first step is to really see, what does organization mean for you? What does it look like for you? Are you going based off of your idea of organization, or maybe what you grew up knowing is what's organized, or a partner or a friend or a spouse? So really get in touch with, what does organization look like for you? For some people, it may look like, okay, I have a pegboard and at 6 o'clock we're doing this and that. And some people may say, hey, you know what? I just want to be able to log on to my meeting less than 15 minutes late, or just to really get in touch with what that means for you. And then also ask yourself the question, why is it so important that I get organized? And so one thing that may be surprising for some people, when you think of working with a life coach, you may think, okay, well, she's going to give me my step 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And we do work on strategy, but the first thing is to get in touch with, what's your motivation? Because if you cannot find your why, then the what, it doesn't stick as well. So, get in touch with, why is it so important that I get organized now? And then sometimes we can get so enthralled with the big picture that we really don't take the time to look at the tiny bite-sized steps that's going to help us get there. So once you get have that visual, visualize what do you want in the end, and then we can kind of work backwards and reverse engineer those goals to help you get to what that big picture looks like.
And sometimes you've got to be able to see it, or at least that vision.
That's right.
I love that talk about the vision, because if you see it, then you can achieve it. It just stays out there.
Yes.
And I love
that's so true.
I absolutely love that.
You have some people who say, I will believe it when I see it, but we have to be, I will see it when I believe it.
Yes. You got to believe it. Yeah. And you got to believe that you're here for this, at this moment.
That's right.
For that purpose. That's why you're here. Oh, I love it. Yeah. Wow. So, I know there are various ways that you can find a coach, but not every coach is the same.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
So you can't just go and pick up a phone book maybe and find a coach. What should someone be looking for when they're looking for a coach?
That's a great question. That's a great question. And I love it when I get our Say Life family members who come to me and they said, hey, I'm shopping around, and I'm not offended like, what? You're looking at other coaches? No, that's awesome, because that means that you're doing your due diligence. So one, see how you feel when you're talking to that coach. Do they listen to you? Listening is key. Listening is very key. And then also empathy. Empathy, not sympathy. There's a difference between that. But are they truly able to kind of take a walk in your shoes and to, take off their glasses of how they operate and move in the world and put yours on for 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 45 minutes, however long the session is, and to be able to truly help you to see, just kind of get a clear view of what life looks like for you. So you want somebody who's going to listen, who's going to be able to be empathetic, and also who is just going to be able to, just have a great, I guess I'm simplifying this when I say a good vibe. Like, you just, you know what, I like talking to that person, because you really are going to be sharing some of the most intimate details of your life or your goals or things that you'd like to share. And so really to look for those three things and a host of others, but I think those will be the first ones to check out.
Okay, well, so you want to feel that connection when you're talking to the person, but also what about other experiences? Would you want to contact others who maybe have had experience with that coach? Is that permitted in your...
yes.
Okay.
So you can definitely check out, reviews. I'm asked, I make sure that the reviews on my page are visible so that, and actually that's been one question, like, do you have some testimonials or something like that from someone who's been with you? And I said, actually, I do.
But you're
have
not
a video.
offended when people ask you that, are you? Okay.
No, I'm not. It's actually like, ooh, that's great. Because, and I think even for coaches out there who may be watching, if somebody's asking for your credentials or for your testimonials, not to feel like, oh, they don't trust me. It's like, no, the fact that they're asking these questions means that they are interested. And so I would encourage, those who are coaches or those who are learning to be coaches to welcome that, because the fact that they're processing that means that it may be a possibility that you'll work together.
Awesome. Thank you for that. We're going to take a short break and we're going to be right back. Welcome back to For the Common Good with Juanita Farrow. And I'm talking to Alyssa Lassiter today, and we're talking about personal development in the midst of a pandemic. Now, you don't have to put your life on hold. At least that's what Alyssa's saying. So she's going to talk to us about fresh start. Tell us about making a fresh start and what that should look like.
Absolutely. Some people think that they have to wait until January 1st at 12 o'clock a.m. to make that new change or to make that fresh start. Some people even think, well, it's Friday. I have to wait till Monday. I had that one slice of pizza. I've done it. I've derailed my whole... Every day is a fresh start. Every moment, every second, every minute is a chance to start new. And so I think when people realize that you don't have to wait to some, undetermined date or time to make that fresh start, that you can literally start new now. And that may, speaking of, healthy eating habits, it could be a healthy lifestyle. It could be, mending that relationship with a friend, a parent, a family member, someone, and saying, I forgive you. Or it could be forgiving yourself. Some guilt or some difficulties or something that maybe you've been carrying around way too long. Every moment's a chance to start fresh, to start new.
Every moment is a chance to start new. Oh, I love that. I love that. Great.
Yes.
Give us some other advice, because I know that there are many out there right now who are struggling during this time. You know, it's a very difficult time for most of us, and something we've never seen.
That's right.
I know that every little bit of advice that we can give to our viewers that they can use in their day-to-day life, something that can help them during this very difficult time. What else would you say to them right now?
Yes. One, the first thing I would say is that I would just give you a big hug, a big virtual hug right now.
And I love that pause earlier.
Yes, because, you know, it's just so interesting. You look at the way we do life right now, and like you said, it's like something that we've never seen. Things that we may have taken for granted. Going over to a friend's house, you know, impromptu visit, or being able to go to a gathering with family or to a family reunion, or even just to kind of be amongst people the same way. We still have to be intentional about connecting, even though we may not be able to connect in the same way. And so my, I guess, tips or something like that would just have grace with yourself, have grace with other people, and just know that I know this has been a difficult time for a lot of people. Some people have endured illness themselves, have lost ones that they love, have lost jobs, opportunities, money, all those sorts of things. But this time, to come out of it, to try to find something that you can change or enhance in yourself in a different way. You know, we're talking about personal development, even in the midst of a pandemic. What's something that you've placed on the back burner for too long? What's something that you've always wanted to do or always have thought about, but maybe never had the courage or the support or something like that to step out and do? And what's one thing? Again, as we mentioned, sometimes people get so enthralled with the big picture. What's one baby
Gotta
step?
Start somewhere.
Yes.
Just a small step
that you can do to get to closer to where you want to be.
Wow. That's really, really good advice. Start now. No better time than right now.
That's
to
right.
start. And who knows where it will lead to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I was, writing on like the back of an envelope, the Say Life Coach Institute, I didn't know within a span of, 9 months or so that we would have trained 90 coaches. I didn't quite, and I know our family is growing. And so again, I'm thankful to God to have put me in this position to be able to help people find their calling, and as a result, help other people to find their calling too.
And you're absolutely right. That was probably in you all along. And it just took something to bring that out.
Absolutely.
And that's the case for, I think, many people. But it's having the courage to step forward and to say, oh, my authentic self, it's okay for me to be me and not have to be defined by the world.
That's right.
To be yourself.
Yes.
And then once you grip onto that, then all kinds of things can happen because it's natural, it flows, the spirit flows, and we come into that calling.
And you said something that really stood out to me. What is it that's going to bring it out of you? Does it have to be a tragedy? Does it have to be just you looking in the mirror and saying, wow, what about this?
Yeah.
Or maybe it just starts with that question, why not me?
It's those aha moments.
That's right. Yes.
We all have those. It's like, okay. I felt that one.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, this is great. Well, thank you so much, Alyssa.
My pleasure.
For being on the show, and the best for your institute.
Thank
you. You've graduated. How many have graduated?
We've had about 90 coaches of October 2020.
That is amazing. And then do you keep up with them and what they're doing?
Yes, they're part of the Say Life Coach Network. And one thing with our coaches, I don't want to be like, okay, bye, good luck being a coach out there. We want to make sure that there's support built in. So we have our Say Life Coach Network. We lift each other up. That's what we're all about. 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Therefore, encourage one another and lift each other up. And that's what we do within our Say Life Coach Network, our institute, and our whole Say Life family.
Wow. Thank you so much. That was just awesome. Now we have something to look forward to, even in the midst of this pandemic, which we'll probably be in for some time. But the message is you can start now, and every moment is a fresh start. So let's just get started. It's okay. You can do it. Thank you, Alyssa.
Thank you.
All right. You've been listening to For the Common Good with Juanita. We'll see you next time.